I did a Masters in Assessment over 10 years ago, and some things have changed since then. The performance standards coming into the SACE and the capabilities, and even the Australian curriculum being totally online, has had to change the way that we've thought about assessment and linked assessment as being absolutely connected to learning.
I like the fact that it took us back to some theory. I think that's always a good place to go to. Some of our staff have been teaching 20, 30, 40 years, and the last time they really looked at theory of assessment was when they trained.
Very often we see assessment as something that comes at the end of what we do rather than driving what we do.
Probably the most important significance from the IEA has been learning that it's assessment and learning, not just assessment as of and for. So bringing that into context so that everything that we do informs the improvement of student learning.
Prior to enrolling in the course, the connection between assessment and learning I feel now is imperative. I don't think one actually can go without the other.
The quality of the Assessment for Educators course has been really, really quite high, and I think that all staff have found it a very effective way to focus us on assessment as a group.
And then having a look at how the assessments, the reliability of the assessment and also the validity. So being able to work with staff and develop those concepts and the constructs so that we have a fit-for-purpose assessment pieces for all students. I think it's been one of the key areas, and that's gone right across from reception to Year 12.
I guess the trigger for looking for a resource related to assessment came with the SACE board self-review tool, and assessment came out very strongly as an area where we felt there were some gaps in what we were doing. And it was through that we then heard about the IEA course and thought, this is a great opportunity. It's right there, it's exactly what we need, so we decided to engage with it.
One of the key things to the IEA was a really, really good model to give whole school professional development in a really cost-effective and time-effective manner.
The modules have been delivered in an extremely professional way. Depth is something that I've noticed, and I guess in these areas sometimes you can have a superficial delivery where you ask yourself the question at the end, what have I really learned out of this? But I believe the presentation has been exceedingly professional and gauged the value of that or the depth of that by the response to further questions to see how the deliverer of the course can respond to those, but also the engagement of our staff. And I've noticed over the period an increased interest and engagement, and I'll put that down to the way in which the course has been delivered.
What I've really liked, I think, are the customised practical examples that we get to work through, where we bring our own work and our own challenges to the actual sessions and get to work those through in a very safe and supportive environment as well.
It's been a very good balance of 3/4 of an hour or so of theory work, and then we put that into practice, and the practice really contextualises what it is that we've been doing in the theory.
There's been a lot of flexibility in the presentation to allow conversations to flow where it's kind of appropriate for us, and there's been some really rich professional conversations between the leaders. So that aspect the flexibility has been excellent.
The pace has been really good. The presenters have been able to pick what we already know and gloss over that, and then focus on the areas where we can obviously get really engaged. So yeah, we've had some really animated discussions, and there's some really great activities that allow us to play and think.
Yeah, the presenters have been aware that we're a single topic school, and they've really focused very well on language assessment, language learning and assessment, which is not easy to do if you're not a trained language teacher. And they've really gone to great lengths to do the best they can in that regard. So that's been really great.
And I think what we have is a really high quality course. People can use it as part of a master's, but it also links with the standards expected by the Teachers Registration Board as well.
Staff feedback has been really, really positive. The Year 7 right through to Year 12 teachers have found that there's really useful aspects of the course.
Very positive feedback. It's one of the most ideal professional development learnings that we have encountered, because it is real life, it's authentic, it speaks to us and develops, a consistency that different generations of teaching may not have been able to procure with their learning.
I have found it really excellent. The presentations have been engaging. I feel like they've been given by teachers for teachers.
The sessions are really useful because not only have I got the resources to go back through later, but there's always something that I can usually apply immediately, either to my individual lessons or to my programming, or when I am providing advice to the teachers that I line manage.
Excellent, really good. General reading, the mode of delivery, the relevant examples I think have definitely enhanced my skill set and my understanding in assessment learning.
It's been really good. It's really involved a lot of thought and a lot of not just being told what to think, a lot of discussion between tables. And
the chance to sit and talk to colleagues, that's probably one of the things I really value, to be able to sit and talk about learning together, to talk in their learning areas and even to talk across learning areas.
The big thing that we've seen is an increased amount of collaboration amongst teachers. And that's across year levels and subjects. So because we've done a whole school R-12 approach, teachers have been talking to senior teachers have been talking to primary school teachers and teachers of different subjects. And so it's really great to be able to share their experiences across subject levels.
With the leaders, I think to have conversations about moderation, about consistency of grades, for them to continue to talk about how do we assess now that we're working with the Australian curriculum, and grappling with how do we assess and then report against the achievement standards. So there's been lots of conversations around those things.
Again, I've enrolled in this course for my own personal development and my own professional practice, and I may well use it to provide evidence for my leadership and further training.
I think the real key at the moment for teachers is having a large chunk of professional learning focused on assessment and going towards their TRB requirements. I think is the teachers see that as a big bonus right off the bat. And I think that as we get farther into the course, that people will start looking at for higher learning options or converting it to the certificate course.
I'm looking at a few young staff who are on contracts applying for jobs, and they're foregrounding their IEA course as being their point of difference. And I found that really interesting and fascinating, but it also says the value they're putting on it in terms of their own marketability.
I would like to take it on as prior learning to continue on and do a master's. I have that need to sort of take it to the next step, to continue to learn and grow. So I think this is a good starting point for that.